Hey folks, so I'm going to run through this really quickly today because I'm fairly active based upon the volatility. So the very first thing I would say is just yesterday I mentioned this, and as always, click and subscribe and put on notifications because this is going to start being timely. And when we start getting into these levels of volatility, it's going to be even more timely. So I'm going to speak fast and really watch the time, try to keep it to 15 minutes. But click subscribe and notifications. Turn on notifications for the Twitter too, if that's something that you're watching during the day. I am looking for a better delivery system, something that's faster, and I'm working on it. But one thing I said yesterday was in a tweet, just you need to have your levels set before your day even begins, right? So here's AMC, and everyone thinks it's going to be the next one to go. I think it's really important to have your level set so that you can see what's going on here, right? So we can't break this $5. This was really good news. We are above the 200-day for the first time, and we are seeing huge volume. Everyone that thinks this is going to be the next GME doesn't understand what moved GME. So AMC is not going to have a move like that. Can it go to 5? Can it go to 7? Yeah, it can have a move, but it's not going to go from 30, it's not going to triple in 3 days. There's too many shares outstanding, there's too many other moving parts to it, and the float short is too short. So this could go, but I would, at this point, there was a little 15-minute pattern that was a really interesting way to buy it. And I'm only going to do this really quickly, but you can see how this is your trade on your 15-minute, and then we break here, boom, retest one of these levels, and we could talk about VWAP levels later, but you can see how we're not getting above this now. So we have this resistance above it, and this is AMC. So what I would do is nothing. If I was long, I'd stay long. If I take out this low of the day, it doesn't even matter anymore. It's just filling the gap. So just stay long, see what happens. I would not enter a new position here until this breaks and closes over 5. So CJC, let's get into this. I like this pattern. So, and it seems completely unaffected. You have this wedge here, and look how you're respecting this just by looking at it real quick, right? That 33, we went right to that level, and and we're having trouble with the 5 and the 8. And you have to realize we had a nice move here off this base, right? So look at this move from 20 bucks on. Consolidates, backfills. What do you think it's going to do again? This pattern look familiar to this one? So realistically, this may come in, touch down to here, and then go higher. But we don't know that. It could do this pattern, right? So we trade price. So what would I do? I'd watch this 33 level. If we break that, we're probably going to 29 and a quarter. But we have a wedge here, and if we form a higher high on huge volume, that could be a buy. But you can see that we have no volume coming in there. And I am talking kind of fast today on purpose. So, DM, we've been in this one in the newsletter since 19. We trimmed here on the failure, and then we broke out today. There's nothing to do with this position. I'm going to move this. What's happening now is we are in this channel, and I'm just going to draw one line of the channel real quick so you can see what I'm talking about, right? So there's a channel here now, and on the other side of it, your count at least is to probably 32, 35. So there's nothing to do here. Someone asked for FIGT, but I could not find it, so I'm just going to keep rolling. So this is kind of important, and what I was stressing yesterday on Fubo. Know where your key levels are, right? Look how we're fighting this key level. The open and the close after 3 hours or 2.5 hours on the day are fighting that level still, right? And they're losing at this particular time. We rallied up, and you could see on a little 15-minute pattern, and we can talk about these patterns later, but you could see here you're forming. As soon as you broke here and you opened here on this bar, you knew you had issues. But this was something where if you were in, and you know where your resistance points are, we opened and gapped perfectly. This was a perfect long off the open. I mean, just perfect. And I obviously can't call them all out because I trade for a living. But you can see here how we're doing. right? And what transpired? Here's your little wedge. We break the wedge. Boom. So you don't have to know someone on a trading desk that says that someone's being liquidated, even though that's what's going on. You can just read price. I mean, price determines everything. So on Fubo, you had those. Now, because I had my levels drawn, right? Because I had my levels drawn, and you can look at the timestamp, and I saw a little pattern that I liked, we pulled right back down to here. Well, that gave me a great opportunity to add to the position, and you can see the timestamp, right? And then I have a free trade on for the day. If this rallies and goes back up, that's fine. If it doesn't do that and just stops me out, that's fine too. It didn't cost me anything. And now I'm in this essentially for free, and I get to retest 62. And I didn't have to deal with any of the, the nuances where we fell down today. And we can get into different technical indicators later, but you can see this waterfall, boom, 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 reversal, right at a key level that we already have drawn. And what does it do? Rallies. Congratulations to those that followed this trade. This was a lot of fun. So a lot of fun. You kind of knew the party was over today. You had the guys high-fiving themselves. And it's usually the guys that high-five themselves, not the girls. So I'm going to say guys. And high-fiving themselves, talking about this. People telling each other how much of it they had. The short float, all of a sudden, you could borrow it. So you kind of saw this coming, right? And this is where all the short people will tell you they shorted up here, but they didn't. So, what happens now? We have this nasty bar, and this is nasty. And this is going to come in. And, read my notes on it. I laid it out at 9:30 this morning. I was 100% out of this trade by the open, I believe. I have to take a look at it. I did a lot today. But I was out. Done. Okay? I don't care that somebody's short here and they're going to try and make this. If you own these puts, I doubt you're even making money because the implied volatility is so great. So the real money was made when we had the expert short seller tell us to get out here. Okay, we went from 33 to 150. So we someone 5 times the money off of his call, and they're going to try and make a double with unlimited risk. It's just ridiculous. It's the fastest way to go broke. So, again, this was one I added to, and the only reason I'm saying that is so that you guys understand this and why it's so important to have these levels drawn, right? We knew this was a key level. We went right to that level. Here's your 8-day. So when you're looking at a daily chart, I mean, you don't have to, that's why I say drill down, right? I mean, are you kidding? I mean, I don't know what other sign you want. Right? You got a double bottom right below support. We boomerang through it, and then you have a bar that breaks out like this. So, I mean, this was pretty clear that you could buy here, right? And know that you're probably going to at least go to here. So, I think there's a guy that calls these patterns out. But you can see, like, as soon as that happens, boom, we're gonna go. And what transpires? So if you're adding here and you're looking for the trigger, even if you're buying here, you're at $55. This is a huge move. Now from here it looks like it's going to roll, but you can drill down into these charts and find these buys when this volatility happens. And just so everybody's clear, we're all acting. A lot of people are acting like this is 99. This is not what 99 and 2000 was like. I traded in it. It's nothing like it. So this is more like 96, 97 when we had like a Russian embargo and we saw some volatility swings. One GME does not make a 99 market. 1,000 GMEs was like a 99 market, to put it into perspective. So everybody needs to understand and look at perspective and stop trying to call the top. So lower high, lower high, lower high. What do we get today? Where's our points? 37 and a quarter, 37. I bought this and I got stopped out of it, and I'll walk you through the trade. So this was fairly simple. Right? I trade on this little pattern here, and right about here, when we flipped this line again, I bought. I didn't buy here. I buy on triggers. Everybody buys different. Doesn't matter. So I bought on this. We traded up. Once this happened, I was like, okay. It concerned me, but I stayed in it. And then I got slippage, which we talk about selling on the down. And I got negative slippage, and I lost like 50 cents. But let's go back to that because I really want to focus on this. So this is not over. And, you know, let price determine what's going to happen. But frankly, based upon the bounce that you're seeing here, it's pretty obvious that somebody was liquidated. And this was not a massive group of people, but one person that got hurt. And there's probably somebody that was short something they shouldn't have been. So here's Lulu that I was asked about. And you can see, right, look at this. Can't get above this. Can't get above this level. So we can't get above here. Can't get above here. Man, I can't get above these levels. And I'm taking out lower levels and the 50 days crossing. And we're going to go to here. Now, Lululemon had a huge run because a lot of people were buying it because they were staying at home and they wanted to look somewhat active and active wear. So you could be seeing some selling here. What would concern me if I was long is a close below this 200, which the last time that happened gave us this sell-off. But I would not add to this until we at least get above the 50-day. But you have a wedge here, but I would not add to this until it tells me what it's going to do. So this MGNI. Okay. You know, we almost have a bearish engulfing. We came down to the 8 and tested it. And what's important about that is here's your key level. Right? So you came to this level. You didn't even get to a support level. And then we bounced. This open and not opening over this was more of a clear sign that this could be a weak day. And you could probably have drilled down even as far as a minute. And I know some people don't use minute charts, and that's on them. There's value in them. So you can see we tried to rally that point, couldn't. Tried to rally that point. I mean, right here you can tell. Okay, so if we break this little pattern, we're going to have a bad day. What happens? I'm not the only one that realizes this, right? I'm not the only one that trades like this. I mean, as soon as this happened, this happened, this happened, and the fight started, everybody was looking at roughly the same pattern. You just get out of the way and you move forward. And this presents some other opportunities to buy. But what do you do now if you're in it? First, based upon this pattern, I would not add. This is telling you we're going to consolidate now when we have a reversal like this. Unless this forms a hammer and closes over the high, this is going to consolidate because you have some people in here at varying prices now. So what would I do? I'd wait for it to settle around this level. If that doesn't happen and you break this 32.98 level, I would use that as a sell. So this did pretty much what we thought it would do, right? We tested below this 556.86, and we said that this could happen. I don't see a sense in doing anything with this until it gives us some kind of trigger. And that trigger to me would be trading higher. And it's not doing that. It's got to give me a higher high, and it's just not doing that. So just, if you're in it, great. This was our key level, which we talked about, and then we could see we stopped here, but you can see this, right? So, and then the break through that, as soon as you broke that key level, it was over. So, and we knew this, we talked about this, that it could fill the gap. I don't think it's going to fill this gap, but you could go to here, which is pretty much what we just did, right? You should be able to see this, and then I'm going to talk faster to get through this. But you can see that key level, right? I'm within 30 cents of that key level right now. I mean, it's right there. And then we hit it here, so you can see it, all right? NIO, you know, I added to it, and I'll walk you through it. But we have our key levels drawn, right? And we know where our buy price was, right? Did we take out a lower low? On the bar. 58.32 was the previous bar. 58.42. Okay, so some people probably sold and panicked. I was very clear on what your position should be here. You sell if it breaks the low. Did we break the low? No. Okay. There's nothing to do here except if you can and you have the capital, you add right to the level that we talked about. And let me go to an hourly. That might be faster and easier here. Okay. So here's our level. Here. Here's our wedge. Here. I mean, talk about textbook, right? So this presented a buying opportunity for people. Whether you bought it or not, that's fine. But you should not have sold unless your second trigger got hit, which it did not, which is this whole base, which it did not get hit. So I still like the stock. I think it has massive, massive potential. The difference between this bar and the one we just looked at is we opened higher, gapped, and now it's sitting at the 5 and the 8 day, right above this key resistance and this key, or this key support and this key support. So I'm very comfortable with it. This is NVAX, and I just want to say something. These lines have been there for weeks. Okay, weeks. People have been asking me about this one. Look at these lines, right? I mean, we can't close above, can't close above. Now, what's interesting about this is now we're starting to get news that certain vaccines are not as effective as we once thought, right? Like we're hearing about the mRNA and how it's not as effective. That could lead to a resurgence in some of these. I don't trade on fundamentals, I trade on price. But see how we're popping over it? We can't stay over. But look how tight this is getting. So what I would do if I was really interested in this, I don't know why you won't give me that arrow. I would watch this little convergence point and wait and see if we get massive volume on it. But if we break this, this is a fairly easy spot to buy. And then if you close below this, then you just get out of the way because you close below the wedge and you close below 132. So this is a fairly easy spot to buy if we break through this on huge volume, because I have a tight stop and then I got at least 12 points, right? So it makes sense to give it a shot there if you're interested in it. OZON, nothing's broken. 51 and a quarter. We didn't even take out a lower low today. We're forming a little wedge. To me, this is setting up this little flag in order to go higher. But we have an inside day today, and we just had massive volatility. That tells you that there's buying here. I don't see anything to do with the position. If you're in it, if you're not in it, I might wait for the trigger at this point because I don't know what the rest of the day is going to bring. So planter, same thing. We have our levels set, right? We knew this is a key level. Okay, we're below that key level right now. Then we can go here, but we're below this key level. There's nothing to do here. We had a massive run. We talked about this on Twitter. I did not put it back in the newsletter. It just moved too fast. Same with JMIA. I mean, they just moved too fast. So QS, keep getting asked about this one. It's broken support. Okay, low, took out the low from the previous day, took out major support. You know, we're rolling. The 50-day is now going to roll. This is going to turn this way. It's going to follow this one, and then this has the opportunity to come back down to here. I see no reason to be in this. None, until this pattern changes. And I'm going to talk a little faster to wrap this up. Rocket, we broke above that key level that we've been talking about for about 6 months now, right? And it can't close above that. Do not buy this stock until it closes. That's not what we wanted. Do not buy this stock until it closes above this level. I mean, just get the tattoo at this point, right? I mean, you can you can say it. I made myself laugh, but you can say it. Now, we are respecting this, but until we close above it, do not buy this stock. I mean, it's very clear that there's a seller here. Solo, I like. This is bad action today, and the smaller ones are going to get hit harder. And I'll say that again. The smaller stocks are going to get hit harder because the institutions are not going to come in and buy those dips. They're going to go and buy the Microsofts, FNGUs, and Apples of the world. They're not going to buy the Solos. So you're not going to have the same volume behind it. This is kind of a nasty bar. So I would wait for this to set up again and then go from there. Possibly a close over this $9 level that's right here. Square, there is no reason to buy this. We talked about this double top that it was forming. And you can see how we had that island start, that island gap reversal. To me, this has got another gap down coming. I don't know that. I just know that it's trading like Bitcoin trades, and right now you might be putting a double top bottom in, but I don't know that yet. So I have to see what happens here. I would not run into this. The high was the open right at the 8, 5, and 21 day. So just stand pat, and this could actually turn into something that gets pretty nasty. So don't add to it. SRNE. This is why it's so critical to have your levels drawn. We're right at support, trapped between 9 and 3/4, 887, but we're still above the huge downtrend. There's nothing to do here. Nothing. Wait for the next pattern to set up for the break of a higher high above this bar, and you could add to it with a shot at 12 with this as your stop. That's actually an interesting trade. TIGR, I mean, this is a massive, massive engulfing bar of this and a huge part of this, but we bounced at support, and now we're right here. Let's see how we close. I would not add to this. I would wait and see and watch it develop. Tesla, I talked about this level, and we're just sitting right below it. And if you look at the weekly on Tesla, and I know that I don't have this up, just trying to talk faster and move faster. Okay, so right here, we talked about this on the weekly. Right now, today's weekly is breaking out of it, but you had an inside day here, you had an inside day here, and you had an inside day here. This, right? So, well, this was the start of it. This inside day, or this day rather, this is not an inside day, obviously, or inside week. So what we're seeing here is a 125-point range. This range was 60. This one was 30. So it was getting tighter and tighter. And so we were going to do one of two things, either pop up or come down. Arrows are pointing up, so that's why we went up. But this break, we're unable to close above it. We might be that way until we get there. WWR is really too thin for me to really comment on. If you really wanted to look at this, this is your key level on WWR for who asked about it. I would want to see significantly more volume. And Zoom, I mean, here's our downward trend, higher high. Still have not broken a higher high on this. Still has not happened, but 200 days being respected, the support levels being respected, this downward trend line's being respected. So if I was long it, I would stay long. At this point, I would not add to the trade until I'm above this 427 level. So that's it. Any questions, give me a call or a text or a message, however you want to reach me.